everyone. Welcome to this exclusive video interview series as part of our ebook, The Broken Candidate Experience. Here's How to Fix It, brought to you by ETHRWorld Southeast Asia in association with Paradox. I am Yasmin Taj, editor for ETHRWorld International and head branded content for the Economic Times. As part of this exclusive ebook, we bring to you in-depth insights from leading talent leaders from across Southeast Asia, where they reveal some interesting narratives and learnings on how to win and retain the right talent by offering an authentic and positive candidate experience, which makes hiring easier, faster, and impactful. The last few tumultuous years have paradoxically changed the meaning of work, careers, and workforce for us. People want to feel related and connected to the organizations they would want to work with. They're looking for meaning and purpose. No longer do employers have the opportunity to cash in the immense talent available. It is indeed a candidate-driven market where employees are the choosers, and the war for talent has only intensified. This particular year has been no different, with inflation, recession, layoffs, and the cost of hiring have all added to the challenges for the CHROs and their recruitment teams. In this interview particularly, we will look at why HR leaders need to take urgent action on their current candidate experience to attract the right talent. And to drive this important conversation, I'm really excited to welcome Jaclyn Lee, who's Chief Human Resources Officer at Certis Group. With more than 25 years of experience in the full spectrum of human resources at both Singapore and regional levels, Jaclyn has led major strategic changes in the various organizations that she has worked with. In her current role, she drives the HR strategy for the group and works alongside the key stakeholders to achieve business objectives. Most recently, Jaclyn has been awarded the ETHRWorld Southeast Asia HR Icons 2024 award as well. Hi, Jaclyn. Thank you so much for joining us for this interview today.
Thank you, Yasmin. My pleasure.
And we are looking forward to some great insights coming in from the vast experience that you bring, Jaclyn, also from your current organization. So as I start, the first question that I have for you is, as employers continue to navigate the war for talent, how do you see candidate experience becoming a priority to attract and hire the right talent?
Now, candidate experience is no longer good to have. It is actually, in my experience with talent resourcing that spans across rank and file to hiring global talents for very niche skill sets. It is now imperative that candidates have good experiences with you because the war for talent, as you have shared, is fierce and intensive and competitive. So, in order to make employee experience or candidate experience meaningful, it's important that you curate your recruitment journeys for different categories of employees quite differently. So I found that in recruiting rank and file employees, efficiency is very, very important. From the touch point, from being contacted for a job interview to the final job offer, the processes need to be really efficient and take a shorter cycle time, because this category of employees, they can move around pretty fast because if competitors offer them something slightly higher, you're going to lose a candidate. So speed is of the essence. And also ensure that your recruiters handle each candidate the highest level of professionalism. Right? That's going to make you different and stand out from the competition. Now, in my experience hiring top-tier talent, which I did a lot in my last job, recruiters need to be very strong brand ambassadors, because when a very senior candidate talks to you, they want to see that you represent the brand, and also a very high level of engagement, right, during the recruitment process. And this might also include like curating networking events to engage interest of candidates, to engaging them for a sustained interest, and also eventually inviting them to consider, job prospects with your company, right? And if you do eventually invite them for a job interview when you're managing top talent, it's important that when the candidate comes to your organization, you have a very strong positive experience for them, right? If they come and they meet bad hiring managers who does not show respect in the job interview process, it's going to turn them off. So it's very important that the meetings with top candidates be professional. It must be curated, and internal hiring managers are very well briefed on how to handle the talent, and also ensuring that you have a very strong employer brand proposition, which is very key to attracting talents. Thank you.
Great, Jaclyn. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. I think I totally agree with you. The kind of market that we are living in today, it's so competitive. Every candidate has multiple job offers in their hand, and they can just switch very quickly if you do not give them the right experience. And as you said, speed is of essence, efficiency is of
Yes.
essence. How your recruitment teams are trained to handle the multiple touch points when you're trying to hire these top tier talent, that's very, very critical too. So a combination of all of this becomes very critical if you want to have the best talent pool, the best talent on board for you. So thanks for sharing that. Moving on to the next question, Jaclyn. While candidate experience is very, very critical, it's also very important to measure the impact it brings because it does require a certain amount of investment. So, how do you measure the impact of a great candidate experience? Are there any metrics that you track? How do you basically do this?
So there are a couple of things that you can do, actually many types of tools, right? So one of the first things which is very important is to have a new hire survey. All right. Every new hire that comes into your organization, it's important to hand them a survey to ask them how they find an entire recruitment process, from recruiters to hiring managers, the way even the interviews are organized, because you can collect great feedback, right, from this kind of new hire surveys, right? Another type of survey that I collect quite a lot is in recruitment fairs. Right? When I organize recruitment fairs or road shows, I will make sure that I look at my conversion rate, right? If I hold a networking event and I spend a lot of money going to a hotel and catering for food and getting speakers, and if the event turns out that my hit rate is very low, then I may not want to go on this route to do this kind of extensive networking events, right? So this kind of data helps me to know which is the more effective method. And also nowadays, there's a lot online, right? Online tools, right? For example, if you have LinkedIn, there are things like Talent Insights. You can collect data about, engagement with potential audiences, who and what type of candidates are looking at your website. And then from there, you can decide that, how you want to cater your digital campaigns, right? So nowadays, with so much technology out there, it is quite easy to pull all this data together to make sense of which method is more effective and where you should focus your energy on and where you should invest your money in what kind of medium to attract the right kind of candidates. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Jaclyn. I think I agree on the point that when there is data, how do you make best use of data to find out in multiple ways? As you said, you can use data to do your new hire survey. You can use data when you're doing this recruitment fest. Is basically making the best use of the insights that can come out from that and use them for your decision making process and seeing how well are your initiatives, your programs for your new hire onboarding working. I think that's a very critical way of measuring the
Yeah,
impact.
exactly.
Yeah, so that's thanks for sharing that. But while we're looking at speed, efficiency, we're looking at data to figure out that we create the best candidate experience. There still are certain roadblocks which hamper the speed and efficiency of a hiring process. According to you, Jaclyn, what are those?
So there are many factors that can hamper, right, the speed and efficiency of a hiring process. Of course, the lack of digital tools, right, that can help you collect resumes and allow online applications, right? If you don't have an online application site, that can really slow down your process, right? But today, in today's digital world, that hardly happens because you have things like your LinkedIn, your JobStreet, and many types of online platforms like even Glassdoor where people can apply for jobs. So I see that occurring less frequently. Now, for those who have digital tools, right, especially online application sites in your company portal, right, you have to make sure that the forms are easy to fill and does not frustrate the candidates, right? And most important, when candidates apply into your job portal, your company website, you have to, if you are not planning to reply candidates, just tell them only shortlisted candidates we will respond only to shortlisted candidates, and this might take us 2 to 3 weeks. Give an indicative timeline, right? If you are not going to put that, then be sure to have an automated system where you can automate replies. For example, if you have 1,000 applications, you might want to have an automated reply to say that, hey, well, thank you for applying for the job. Thank you for your interest. Please, bear with us as we revert to you. So this kind of process that to automate so that it does not slow down and cause candidate frustration and making sure forms are easy to fill, and also making sure that when somebody onboards, I discovered that when you hire someone, it is important that you're also able to kind of do pre-boarding, right? So for example, when a candidate applies for a job and before they join, it is important that you provide maybe a little bit of pre-boarding material so that candidates can get up to speed on certain things that within your organization before they even join so that they can have a head start, right? So, and also ensuring that the way you send out job offers, you want to make sure you automate that process. Otherwise, it's going to take a long time. By the time you send an offer to someone, they reply, they sign, and they come back to you, it may take a long time. So things like Adobe, e-sign, and just make sure that you get all those things fully automated, including things like referencing, right? You can even automate referencing processes. So as far as possible, try and automate every part of the process so that it can speed up your efficiency. It does not slow down the hiring process, right? So speed is of the essence. Thank you.
Thanks, Jaclyn. While we're talking, I
Yeah.
think the technology, that was actually going to be my next question to you as to how can
Yeah.
technology help build on a better candidate experience? And I think you answered it really well. As you said, do not frustrate your candidates with multiple steps, into filling
Yes.
the forms or going through the processes. Try and use technology and automate all of that as much as possible so that there's ease when it comes to their hiring process. It doesn't take them months to do that. It doesn't take them really long hours to fill in forms. I think that's very, very important. As you said, speed and efficiency both, and technology can be a great enabler in that. Is there
Yes.
any other way at your organization, Jaclyn, that you're using AI and automation to improve the hiring speed or the enhancing the overall experience for your potential recruits?
Of course, technology is very key, but before you implement technology, you have to understand your processes.
Mhm.
So usually before I implement any new technology, I would get a group together. We call it a design thinking workshop. Get people to think through the processes candidates will go through, and it might be useful to even have focus groups to give you their feedback of your current processes, right? Before you start going to AI and automation tools. And also good to have your in-house team think through their current processes, whether it's efficient, and if it's not, what are the roadblocks, right? Think about lean innovation, lean down your processes. So once you're quite clear with your processes, what are the things you want to automate and what are the things you want to improve, and you get feedback from your users, then you start looking into technology. I never believe like in implementing technology without understanding why I'm using the technology and how the technology can help me. Right. So a case in point, when I was doing the implementation, that was in my previous job in SUTD. I implemented the entire HRIS system, right? Re-implemented everything into the SAP success factors. And one of the things we did was to make sure that we digitize processes from job application to onboarding so that resumes are automatically converted into employee records. So you don't have to have double entry. So this is important, right? To use technology to automate that process. And also important to have AI tools to sieve out candidates that might not be suitable during the application process. So we use quite a bit of AI to look at candidates, and the AI tools actually does the first few rounds of shortlisting. And that really helped to improve cycle time and also quality of candidates shortlisted. And it's important that when you use this kind of AI and automation tools, you must make sure that you think about the candidate experience. That's why I talk about design thinking, lean innovation, because when candidates have a positive experience with your digital tools, right, it leaves them with a very good impression of the company, and also kind of like helps with engagement and in getting potential candidates to take a greater interest in looking for an organization that is very progressive, right? So back to the fundamentals, which is really important.
I love the point when you said back to the fundamentals. It's about understanding, starting from the point of listening to what your employees need, understanding their needs, then looking at the digital tools available, assessing how they will address those needs, and then getting onto the whole point of adopting technology. Because, as you said, just taking on technology without knowing the use of it, whether having the proper channels to channelize those technology, that's not going to be useful. So I think that's a great point to start for any organization when they're looking at
Yes.
automating. And as AI is becoming so hyped these days. How can you make the best use of it to assess your candidates better, see which candidate fits the role better, which skills fit the roles better? I think that's going to help organizations speed up and make their hiring process much, much more efficient. So thanks, Jaclyn, for sharing that. If I may ask, Jaclyn, how do you redesign the entire application process to remove friction? And how does this new process impact results? Was there any feedback that you've received from your candidates?
Like what we did was that we had a lot when we were doing the system implementation. We had a lot of workshop, right? And we had like days like of workshop to relook at the current processes, right? And of course pre and post, right? So you kind of like get that same focus group. Okay, pre, what's the current experience you have right now, and when you go into the portal, how do you feel the processes are versus after we have done the implementation, and actually people feedback to us that they see that the process is so much more seamless, right? So you get user groups to test before and after, and then you see that, okay, now that what we have done, we have actually improved the processes, and we have automated the portions that it can be automated, and actually we do pre and post, and from there you can see whether it's effective or not, what we have done.
Great point again. I think earlier you mentioned that too, that having focused user groups to first kind of use and assess how the process or the technology is working for you makes a lot of sense, because then that will work for the larger section of the candidates as well. So that's a great way to start and remove friction, because what is going to work, what is not going to work. So that's great thought. Thank you so much for sharing that. My final question to you, Jaclyn, before we wrap up this interview is, what advice, as a leader with so much of experience in the HR fraternity, what advice would you give to recruitment teams, HR leaders, to enhance their candidate experience, make it better, make it seamless, frictionless, and speed it up, make it more efficient? Just some tips finally that you could give to other leaders who are struggling when it comes to especially bulk hiring and in thousands of numbers of hiring. How can they make it better?
So I'll address the rank and file workers, because I'm now in Certis Group. We are a large employer, right? We have 38,000 employees globally. So when you're handling bulk volume recruitment, it's very important that you have data, right? It's very important that the recruitment team must be very close to the business. It cannot be a distance from the business. You need to be able to understand sales pipeline all the way to operational efficiencies, understanding employee attrition data, because eventually whatever you're gonna hire has to fit into the entire manpower supply chain. So you've got to be very close to the business. You've got to know the pulse of the business, work closely with the business leaders, and anticipate needs before it happens, and use data analytics to track the efficiency of each category of recruitment you're hiring. So if you build this kind of data analytics across the entire supply chain, then you become more efficient. So case in point is that in Certis, I have managed to recruit thousands of workers using a data analytics approach, right? And then second point is, when you're hiring top tier talent, candidate experience becomes very, very important. So for recruitment teams, please be a brand ambassador. You are the brand, you are the talent brand. So you are not just a recruiter, you represent the brand. So when you think of yourself as a brand ambassador, the touch point with the candidate is actually going to be really different, right? And of course, third and final point is just make sure that think about all kinds of digital tools that's available. You can use to enhance your recruitment processes, right? I used to have an employee who came to me with an interesting app, right? She says, hey, Jack, there's this app that actually improves the efficiency and helps me to track each candidate that I've hired. Can I introduce to the recruitment team? I say, why not? And when she started to introducing, and wow, it really improved the efficiency. So I always ask my staff to explore, be open to new tools and technology to help you improve your recruitment.
Great, thanks. Great thoughts again. Great advice, great suggestions. I think, as you said, it makes a lot of sense that firstly, it's very important to use data, look at what's working, what's not working, use data to analyze, to get those insights for better decision making. Secondly, the recruitment team, how important it is for them to remain close to business, how important it is for them to become brand ambassadors of the company that they're associated with. Overall, bringing that, building that employee value proposition, they're very, very important. And then then finally, how do you use technology and data to create that experience, that candidate experience, which is efficient, which takes lesser time, which enables the candidate to experience your brand better when they're willing to join your organization. I think these are very key points when you look at building a candidate experience and becoming an employer of choice. So on that note, Jaclyn, it was a wonderful conversation. It was so nice to hear from you all these insights on how organizations can work towards becoming better employers of choice. And thank you for your insights. It was a great conversation.
Thank you so much, Yasmin. Yeah, it was my pleasure.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for all those people watching us, I hope you're able to assess and understand what kind of key takeaways Jaclyn has had to share, take them back and apply them to your organizations. This is going to make a lot of difference on how you hire and attract and retain the best talent. Thank you so much for watching this episode. See you in the next one. Until then, take care and bye-bye.